The first 2 years, first 3 years, like you can kind of sum it up. You ain't got to give me a long story. I was there with you for 2 of them. So kind of give me what that rough patch was like, and then we can kind of skip through and get to where you at right now.
Few stories in sports resonate as deeply as that of Kelsey Mitchell, a talented guard who has not only dazzled on the court, but also weathered storms both personal and professional. For Mitchell, basketball has always been more than a game. It's been a refuge, a means of forging her identity, and ultimately, a vehicle for healing. In this exclusive look from Sport Pulse, we explore how this Cincinnati native, molded by a family steeped in athletic tradition, transformed her adversity into an unyielding drive for team success despite nearly a decade of setbacks. Kelsey Mitchell's narrative begins in the vibrant yet unassuming cityscape of Cincinnati, Ohio.
I'm here with my dog, my teammate. I'm super hyped to have my girl here. 2-time WNBA All-Star, Kelsey Mitchell. What's good with it?
What's up?
A place where expectations are modest and the community's love for sports runs deep. Born into a family with a storied athletic background, her father had played football at a high level, and her mother had built her own legacy on the courts of Eastern Kentucky. Mitchell was introduced early on to the raw passion and discipline required in competitive sports. "I grew up in a small Midwestern city," she recalls, "where you learn quickly that you get what you're given."
Born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, 513 kid. It's kind of tough to come out of where I come from because it's so small. So you get what you get. It's kind of a dense city. It's not as like a Miami or like a Atlanta. So you kind of.
It wasn't about flashy lights or grand stadiums. It was about heart, commitment, and playing for something bigger than yourself. For Kelsey, basketball became a lifeline, a language through which she expressed her determination and carved out a space for herself. The hoops, the late-night practices, and the countless hours of drilling fundamentals shaped her character long before she graced any professional court. Even as a young girl, she found solace in the rhythm of the game, a constant in a world that sometimes seemed overwhelmingly unpredictable. When Mitchell was selected as the number 2 overall pick in the 2018 WNBA draft, the excitement was palpable. The Indiana Fever, a franchise with passionate fans and high aspirations, welcomed a player who many expected would be the spark to transform their fortunes.
Get what you get. So I grew up rooting to my family. I come from a family dynamic of just sports. My dad was he went to.
In theory, she was destined to lead the team to glory. In reality, however, the road ahead would be far from easy. From the outset, Mitchell was burdened with tremendous promise and equally tremendous challenges. Despite her undeniable talent, the Fever organization was beset by instability. Over the course of 7 years, Mitchell endured a staggering 4 coaching changes, each bringing a new philosophy and a different vision for the team. Every time you got a new coach, you were forced to rebuild relationships, adapt to a new system, and sometimes even reimagine your role, Mitchell explains. "It felt like I was starting from scratch over and over again." For years, the Indiana Fever languished in a seemingly endless playoff drought. The disheartening reality was that even as Mitchell's individual numbers soared, averaging more than 16 points per game consistently between 2018 and 2023,
School to play football. I'm talking about my mom at Eastern Kentucky.
Okay.
And that's how I was brought into this world.
Shout out to your parents, though. Shout out to your parents. Shout out to your.
the collective success that comes from winning was painfully elusive. For Mitchell, the scoring accolades and individual praise, though gratifying, never quite filled the void left by the absence of team victories. Amid the chaos of a rebuilding organization, Mitchell's career was defined not only by her scoring ability, but by an unyielding competitive spirit that refused to let circumstances dictate her future. With each passing season, the Fever's struggles mounted, losses piled up, expectations were continually dashed, and frustration became a familiar companion.
Took it from there, just, utilized what I knew about it. And that's how I knew what my lifestyle was, just through hoop. I had friends through hoop. You kind of gain a lifestyle, and the rest was kind of history.
Yeah.
Yet despite these setbacks, Mitchell's commitment to excellence never wavered. Even when it seemed like the weight of all those losses was too much to bear, I kept showing up, she recalls with a determined smile. "I was always the first in the gym and the last to leave. I knew that if I wanted to change the narrative, I had to be the one to put in the work, day after day, even when nothing seemed to be working." It was this relentless work ethic, honed over years of frustration, that slowly began to carve out a path toward redemption. Mitchell's experience during those lean years was a study in perseverance. While many of her peers might have taken the easy way out or demanded a fresh start by seeking trades, she chose to stick with the Fever. I trusted the organization, Mitchell reflects. Even with the endless changes, I believed in the process. I believed that if I kept pushing, eventually we'd build something together. Her loyalty to the Fever, despite the obvious challenges, became one of the defining aspects of her professional identity, a testament to her commitment to the collective good over personal glory.
I
look back at it now, I went from Cincinnati and I went up the street to Columbus, to Ohio State University. And
sometimes when life seems to conspire against you, the support of others can be the lifeline you never knew you needed. For Mitchell, that support came from an unexpected source, her teammates. In the midst of her personal crisis, the Fever locker room transformed into a haven of camaraderie and empathy. The collective spirit of the team, with its shared commitment to overcoming adversity, offered Mitchell the solace she desperately needed.
I was always a homebody, but I knew I wanted to get out of Cincinnati. That was clear. And once I became a Buckeye, I kind of chose being a Buckeye.
One of the most significant influences during this time was rookie sensation Caitlin Clark, a player whose arrival in Indiana seemed almost serendipitous. Although still new to the league, Clark's infectious energy, fierce competitiveness, and genuine care for her teammates quickly made her a beacon of hope.
You and Eve both been here for a number of years, right?
Yeah.
Y'all done been through the tough years. Well, you really got to grind it out. Tough season.
What, you had 7 years here?
All 7.
All 7. You ain't never been to another team.
I looked around and saw a group of women who would move mountains for each other, Mitchell recalls. It wasn't just about basketball, it was about healing together. Clark's presence was like a shot of adrenaline straight to Mitchell's wounded heart. Despite being one of the youngest members of the team, the rookie's ability to rise to challenges and inspire her teammates was remarkable. I was in awe of her, Mitchell says. Here was someone who came in with such passion and dedication, and her enthusiasm was contagious.
2015
She was my
to...
best.
Hey, wait. Wait. Don't count my age right now on TV. Don't do that. Don't do me like that. You know what I mean? I still look good for my age.
It reminded me why I fell in love with this game in the first place. For Mitchell, every word of encouragement from Clark and every supportive gesture from her teammates played a crucial role in reigniting her passion for basketball. In those early days of recovery, Mitchell also took a courageous step that many athletes shy away from. She sought professional help. Embracing therapy as part of her healing journey, Mitchell began to unpack the immense grief and trauma that had accumulated over months of silent suffering. Therapy wasn't about airing my problems to just anyone, she explains.
I think Indy, those from my year 1 through 3.5. Well, let me just say this. I went through my 7 years in Indy. I've had 4 head coaches. So that
was a structured process, one that allowed me to understand my pain, confront my grief, and slowly rebuild the strength I needed to play again. With each session, she learned that vulnerability was not a sign of weakness, but a pathway to resilience. Armed with the support of her teammates and bolstered by professional help, Mitchell gradually found her way back to the court. The 2024 season, initially marred by heartache, slowly evolved into a journey of rediscovery and reinvention. Mitchell's play on the court began to exhibit a new intensity, a reflection of both her personal growth and her unwavering commitment to honor her father's memory.
no one really knows what an experience of like the black stick at the bottom. Trust me, I've been there. Trust me. So I was, that's really how it started,
Throughout the season, Mitchell's statistics soared to career best levels, averaging 19. 2 points per game with shooting percentages that reached nearly 47% from the field and an impressive 2% from beyond the arc. She was not just playing well, she was dominating. I felt like every time I stepped onto the court, I was channeling all the emotions I'd been holding in, she says. Every shot, every drive, it was as if I was making a statement. I was here, I was fighting, and I was going to keep fighting no matter what. Those numbers, though eye-popping, were secondary to the emotional victory of reclaiming her love for the game. Mitchell's transformation was emblematic of the broader change sweeping through the Fever organization. The team, once mired in a cycle of rebuilding and disappointment, began to show signs of promise.
Different coaches got hired, and I think that at that point, Delby was trying to figure out whether I would keep swimming or if I would sink individually. I'll be honest, I didn't know what would happen in my career.
With each win, every improved statistic, and every moment of teamwork on display, the Fever slowly began to emerge from a long winter of losses. For fans and players alike, it was a welcome change, a beacon of hope that success, however elusive for so long, might finally be within reach. One of the most captivating developments of the season was the evolution of the on-court relationship between Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. Although their journeys were markedly different, Mitchell, the seasoned veteran weathering storms, and Clark, the dynamic newcomer full of promise, their connection transcended age and experience. Together they became a dynamic duo whose complementary styles transformed the Fever's offense into a well-oiled machine. At times, the pairing of an established star with a rookie might raise concerns about overshadowing or competition. Yet, in this instance, Mitchell found that Clark's energy was exactly what the team needed. There was never any question of competition, Mitchell reflects. Caitlin's drive to win and her incredible court vision opened up new opportunities for all of us. Suddenly, defenses couldn't key in on just one player. We were working together, and it felt like a real partnership. Their combined scoring averages, a mirrored 19, 2 points per game for both players, served as a powerful indicator that when individuals unite for a common purpose, the whole can indeed be greater than the sum of its parts.